Hey guys, this is a video to kind of introduce a few of these lightsabers that I've recently acquired. At the very beginning, obviously, before I had a lightsaber, I decided to make a flagpole into a saber, ideally just to understand the physics of spinning, which is kind of what I'm most interested in. So I made this, I converted this flagpole into a lightsaber. Obviously, the end turned into a pretty brilliant pommel. And then I took a method that I learned off of YouTube, which is a simple axe handle rope. So it's comprised of just one piece of string that you can, you can actually pull that one and unravel this all, and it'll still be a useful single tether paracord. Anyways, not relevant. I decided to wrap this just to have a better grip because it kept falling out of my hand. And so anyways, I practiced with this extensively for hours. And I obviously threw it a bunch, it fell a lot. But this is kind of how I was figuring out how to spin before I got sabers. And I did that because I was afraid of throwing these things. Not to say that you won't throw these. So I guess introductory into my purchase method. I'm a huge sucker for the black on silver. I think it looks really slick. So I did that, and underneath this one there's more of it. So let me get in, I guess, to the methods of purchase and where they came from. This saber here is from Dynamic Sabers, which actually is my favorite. One thing that's cool and notable is that it's really thin, and at the end here the pommel has grips. So if you're into spinning, the grip helps with transition, so it's behind the back, and it's so thin that it makes finger rolls amazingly simple. The recess button here is awesome because when you're in maneuvers, you never seem to touch it, which is cool. Unlike this, I'll get into more of this, but this is an Ultra Saber saber, and I hit this button all the time, and it's terribly inconvenient. But back to the Dynamic Saber. So I think that actually in reality this saber is from China, but it doesn't take away from anything as far as aesthetics, as far as like spinning it, holding it, maneuvering this saber. It's brilliant. I really do enjoy actually holding the saber. What is kind of crappy that I found was the first substantial drop on this guy jarred the speaker loose internally, so I had to go in and actually reattach the speaker because it was like making noises. So the internals of this are actually pretty terrible. The battery pack itself, which is just behind the grip here, the prongs that hold this battery that's in here, it's a single battery. I don't know if it happens from maneuvering the saber itself, but what happened was basically there was no power. I removed this, pulled it back, and the battery was shifting between the prongs. So, I mean, as far as electronics, this is a very poorly designed saber. Everything inside of it I've already had to take apart and fix at least a dozen times. So as far as Dynamic Saber, the electronics are terrible. The grip itself is magnificent. The way it feels in your hand is amazing. The balance is perfect. Maneuver-wise, this is a brilliant saber. The electronics suck so bad. So let's move away from Dynamic Saber. The next up here is a Kyber Light saber. This is an upgraded saber. So Kyber Light is amazing in the fact that they offer you so many options. It's phenomenal. What's great though, and I think is what is so brilliant, is they have this pretty much they have a design basically where you can just buy one, add parts, and customize it as you please, and it never ends. Personally, I'm a black on carbon fiber guy, which is amazing. The hardware they introduced, you can kind of manipulate it as you please. But what's great is the weight and balance of the saber is amazing. It's phenomenal. It's a heavy saber. If you want to compare it to the dynamic saber, this is a heavy saber. But what I think is brilliant about it is that it's perfectly weighted. So when you're going to spin, so the pommel feels great. If that's not, and as you can see here, I've put this through some work already. I've been spinning every single one of these sabers extensively, and I've dropped them a dozen of times, as you can see. And there it goes again. But what I can say from all of these sabers is that the Kyber saber takes abuse amazingly well. Obviously, a lot of these sabers are comprised of aluminum material with an anodized coating or powder coated. So obviously when you drop them, especially in rocks where I live, this happens. So, but what I can say from that, and especially being that I'm using these things specifically to spin and duel, and I whap them on just about everything, I'm not trying to be kind with any of these weapons. And with that said, I think the Kyber Light is an extremely durable weapon, from what I've noticed. Like I said, with dynamics, I was dealing with the same practice. You can see some of this marring. But the first time I dropped it, the speaker became dislodged. I had to remove half of it to reinstall the speaker because it was, so as far as durability goes, I'm putting these sabers through the worst. And heck, some of these guys might say, hey, we wouldn't even warranty some of this abuse. But personally speaking, I only bought these swords to fight and play with. And that was my driving factor here. So the last saber I'll get to before I kind of bore you too much. This is an Ultra Saber. Dark Apprentice V5, and this is the least impressive saber I've handled yet. I'll tell you this, man. I don't know if it's because it's a 36-inch blade, but this is the most unbalanced lightsaber I've ever handled in my life. I've comprised a few swords, that I've been off with balance. This is awful. There isn't one thing about handling this sword that feels comfortable. And I thought I was going to be overwhelmed with enjoyment because there are these galleys here, which are cool. I like those gussets. I think it's brilliant. The saber's color is immaculate. It is by far one of the most bright sabers out of, the three that are sitting here. But as far as handleability, maneuverability, and then not only that, there's no lockout on the switch, so I bump it all the time. I don't know if it's because it's a 36-inch blade, and all of these here are 32s that may have something to do with the balance, but this Dark Apprentice on a 36-inch blade is the worst lightsaber sword I've handled in my life. It's terrible. And that button is intrusive. It's disgusting. It sits so far above that every time you turn, it just gets bumped. This is awful. Emery, if you're listening, I'm talking to you, boy. This is gross. I'm just saying, anyways, from all this stuff, and I'm saying, this China part, because of its light maneuverability, is unique. The balance is fun. Love the saber, but I've had to repair it about a dozen times because the electronics are just awful. So that I guess that's what you pay for. Kyber saber, Kyber Light saber. I have dropped bajillion and a half times, thrown across the yard. Hasn't failed once. It's brilliant. Durability wise, this is probably my most favorite saber I've handled yet. One thing that's not cool, I guess, is that you can bump a light change. So when when it's actually on and you're spinning, you can actually hit the button on accident and change your color, which sucks. If you're in a good transition and your light just turns purple, that's kind of shitty. Aside that, though, this is the most solid saber I think I've handled yet. I have 5 more that are coming in, another one from Emery, so we'll see how Ultra Sabers does. Again, on the Ultra Saber thing, I want to put this out here. The first time I handled the saber, I do want to say one thing. Emery, I hope you're listening. These galleys here that are created to like kind of diffuse some of the light, they are not finished. It actually sliced my hand open. These are not well done. So if you get the Dark Apprentice, be careful for that. Other than that, I think that, you know, if you're understanding what you like as far as handling a weapon or sword, as far as balance, pommel weight, displacement, balance, I think you kind of get what you're going towards. Hopefully this video will help you understand the dynamics of sabers, and not only is it, you know, buying from reputable companies as far as, you know, getting something for what you're paying. Just be careful, man, because this Emery and Ultra Sabers are a good company, but this Dark Apprentice is awful. So like I said, beware what you're buying, and sometimes you can score with China stuff, you know, if you're willing to fix it when it breaks. You know, and these are the things you're going to deal with, and I'll have more to continue on this video stream of lightsaber evaluations. So I'll talk to you soon, guys.